It marks Fentanyl Awareness Day. It's a drug so deadly the amount that fits on the tip of a pencil can kill you. In Washington state, anyone can be held criminally responsible, charged with homicide if you supply a deadly dose. Detectives say these are called controlled substance homicides, and they're some of the hardest cases to build, even harder to prove in court. But in Bellevue, an undercover narcotics detective has decided to start building these cases anyways in an effort to go after the dealers.
Now the entire department treats every fatal overdose call as a potential homicide from the very moment when officers first arrive on the scene. And Fox 13's Zach Anders joins us now in studio with more on the extra legwork that these cases create and really what they're pursuing here, Zach.
Yeah, exactly. David, Jamie, these are the charging documents from a murder, a recent murder, and these are the charging documents from a controlled substance homicide charge in King County. They're almost double in size. Investigators say that's because it's one of the hardest cases to prove, which is why there has never been a conviction by a jury in King County for this specific charge. And yet in Bellevue, they decided to start pursuing them anyways, instructing our patrol officers to treat every overdose in the city as a homicide.
Is every death then considered a homicide, or should it be?
Absolutely. Every one of these cases, every one of these deaths can be sourced back to a dealer who is supplying, poisonous fentanyl or whatever substance throughout the community. At this point, I'd say it's pretty common knowledge in the drug world that those pills are fentanyl pills. In Bellevue, we feel that those people should be held accountable for their actions and should be held accountable for causing another person to lose their life.
Tell me about one of those successful convictions.
She just turned 18 the week prior to her death. She had successfully completed a rehab program to get off of fentanyl. And for her 18th birthday, she was gifted by her parents to go on a mini 2 or 3 day trip. I was able to confirm that she actually met with this friend, and she had been with him all afternoon. And they eventually parted ways. She went to get on the ferry, and she had overdosed on the ferry, heading over, I believe, to Kitsap County. She was able to be revived that day, and unfortunately, the first night she was back, she overdosed in her bedroom on a fentanyl pill.
Do you know how much she bought the pill for?
At the time, I know she planned to buy 10 pills, and I think she was buying them for $40.
Yeah, this is Brillian. Her self-named Happy Brillian. She was just always such a happy girl, just naturally happy.
He knew he was selling fentanyl.
Of course he did, absolutely. Absolutely he did. They all know it. They're not getting prescription pills from a pharmacy. They all, if they're dealing those drugs, they know they're fentanyl. That's, this is what they're made out of. It was Joe Marciano first thought it was a good case for homicide, and then I guess he brought it to his peer group, and they said no, and then they were not going to charge this person with anything, which destroyed me all over again.
My name is Joseph Marcasano, and I've been with the prosecutor's office for over 11 years. So Brillian's case was really tricky because we could pinpoint when we believe that she was sold drugs. And we know that the same day that she was sold those drugs, she actually overdosed, but she didn't die. You could make the argument that she probably overdosed from the same pills that she bought 3 to 4 days prior, but we had no other witnesses or evidence to tell us where exactly she was or what she was exactly doing during that time. And even if we knew that she was in a specific location, that doesn't necessarily mean that she didn't meet up with someone who could have sold her other drugs. We had a couple of other prosecutors also look at the case to see if fresh eyes would give us different ideas. And because of that 3 to 4 day gap, we felt that we could improve the controlled substance homicide charge. But because we had evidence of the day that she was sold the drugs and she non-fatally overdosed that day, we did charge drug delivery for that specific transaction.
For the delivery charge, how long is that sentence?
Their standard range is 12 months in a day to 20 months in prison. The homicide conviction is several more years. It's roughly between 4.5 to 5.5 years in prison. So the tricky thing about the controlled substance homicide charge is it reads like it's a very easy charge to prove, that all you have to show is that there was a drug sale, someone took those drugs, and someone died. It's actually more complicated than that, because someone may have multiple drugs in their system. There might be a delay between when they buy the drugs and when they actually pass away, so we can't say that those drugs caused the death. But it's also, we have to be mindful that this statute doesn't require any type of bad intent or any type of harm that the drug dealer wished to cause the person. So in order for us to bring that charge, we look for additional aggravating factors or circumstances in the case. And that can be things like the drug dealer misled the person about what the pills actually contained, or said, oh, they're safe, don't worry about it, or something like the drug dealer continues to deal drugs after knowing that they caused someone's death. We would consider that an aggravating circumstance.
Even in his texting to Brillian, just literally 2 hours before she died, he asked if she was okay, because he hadn't heard from her for a day, and said, I don't want you dying on me now. He knew her before. It wasn't just somebody off the street. You know, he knew her, and he knew that she had gone to treatment. He knew she had been clean. He could have made a choice not to sell to her, but he didn't. He made $20 for her life.
Had Brillian died on the ferry during that first overdose instead of a few days later at home, the controlled substance homicide charge likely could have stuck. But because of that 3-day gap, prosecutors couldn't otherwise prove that those pills came from the same dealer. David, Jamie, back to you.